Looking forward to the opportunity tonight for the Giants. We've talked a lot about it, this year. I don't know Logan Ryan, but they're healthier, getting Thomas back and getting Saquon Barkley back. The opportunity here for the Giants tonight, taking on the Bucs, Carl.
Well, strangely enough, I predicted that they will have a chance to win the game, and I think they will win the game. As strange as that prediction is, I think. And again, I'm willing to be totally wrong on this, but they seem to have turned the corner a bit defensively. Offensively, though they're finding their true identity, they are establishing an identity per game just based on what's available to them personnel-wise. So they will have an opportunity to win this game, and I think they'll do the things necessary to do so. And what makes me think strategically that they can do that, it's not an emotional prediction. It's just kind of what Tampa likes to do defensively. The Giants can offset given their available personnel in terms of having a Tony, a Thomas, a Galladay, a Barkley back into their lineup, because it's just going to be a communications game for the Giants. Their offensive line, it's a high-volume blitz team. But when you're blitzing with defensive backs, that your key defensive backs are out injured, you're going to expose yourself defensively if you don't get there. So the Giants have to be good in terms of how they communicate. But the blitz is not necessarily to get an extra guy. It's to get Shaq Barrett or Vita Vea or Ndamukong Suh or JPP one-on-one with the Giants offensive linemen. So they're going to have to be good in their communication. Daniel Jones has to make good decisions with the football, but they have guys that can win on the outside. And then, defensively, the way the Giants are playing defense, it won't be a bend but don't break defense tonight, because Tom Brady is just too good in every part of the football field. Mm-hmm. And it'll be death by 1,000 paper cuts. He's just as patient as you need him to be. If you want to just give him 5 and 10 yarders, he'll take them all day and never make a mistake. Unlike some of the other impatient offensive systems. Now, they do like to throw the ball down the field. They're a big shot team, but you've got to apply pressure to Tom Brady, and you've got to do it in different ways. But they will have some opportunities defensively to offset some of the things Brady does. You're not going to fool him with trick defenses. He's seen it all. You just want to make him think about everything you're doing so that he has to put more effort into operating their offense.
Listen, they came up with a really good defensive game plan against Brady and the Bucs last year. We thought maybe it was the familiarity that Patrick Graham and Joe Judge have with Brady from all those years in New England. Maybe overstated that a little bit, but it seemed like it worked. But, Carl, I want to pick on something you said offensively about, taking advantage maybe of the Tampa Bay Bucs trying to blitz and trying to, beat that. In Saquon coming back, though, what are your expectations for him in terms of, carry-wise, involvement-wise? Do you think this is a full go? Do you think they work him back in slowly? What's your expectation for Barkley?
I don't know how he's practiced. He could be healthy and practicing like crap, or he could be practicing well. I don't know. But I think they're going to use both he and Booker. I don't think they're just going to just hand him the keys and say, okay, you're healthy, carry us all the way. When Booker has factored in to a lot of the things they've done well offensively. And it takes a lot of pressure off of Saquon to actually do something, something big. Just, keep the trains running on time, and you and Booker just, take the yards that are there. And if something breaks, then you have a chance to be great. If not, just keep the offense on schedule.
How aggressive do you think Garrett's going to be as a play caller tonight, Carl?
That's always the dilemma, right?
Yeah, that's.
We've been waiting for it.
Yeah, you can't be as conservative as you were against the Raiders, because Brady's going to score tonight, especially with Gronk back, Carl.
Well, listen, if Brady's not on the field, he can't score.
Good point.
And so what they did with the Raiders is they were a ball control offense, and they took opportunities when they were there. That's not necessarily a bad strategy. I mean, when you open up your offense to a high volume blitz team, that's when the mistakes start to come. So you've got to make sure you got the game under control and that you play it on your terms. Like I said, there are going to be opportunities there, but if you think you're going to go with 4 and 5 wide receiver looks against this team, your quarterback's going to have a lot of turnovers, and there are going to be a ton of interceptions. It's just that simple. They're too aggressive in terms of their pressure, and you don't have enough time or enough good blockers to handle 6 and 7 guys with 5 up front.
Carl Banks is joining us. Of course, big Monday night game. You can hear it on the Fan. Giants and Bucks in Tampa. Carl, we'll get calls about this, and we often hear from the fans, about Daniel Jones' record in prime time. The fact that they haven't been able to win games. I don't think win-loss is a quarterback stat, so I'm not reading so much into that. But is there something to, and you played in obviously so many primetime and high-profile games, is there something to guys on the big stage struggling? And do you think Daniel Jones feels that at all?
I think they all have the intent, Maggie, of being good, no matter if it's prime time or drive time. I just think, you are what you are until you're not. And that's what it really comes down to. It's just like people say, well, Brady's never lost 4 games in a row. Well, he hasn't until he does, so it's up to the individuals to go out and change the nature of how people perceive you. And that's through executing your plan. So, it's quarterbacks get the brunt of the blame because they are the heads of their teams on the field. So he's got to go out and win a game, and nobody will say that anymore. Or they'll say he's won one in prime time.
Well,
yeah,
baby steps.
Carl, when you've watched the Bucks on film here, is there a big difference between the Bucks of last year and the Bucks of this year?
Well, I think health has been a major factor for them. It's just like the league, man. It's like the inconsistencies are really revolving around how you make the adjustments due to available players and getting the right system to work for the available players, because you just don't have the luxury of counting on guys anymore. And it's the oddest thing. Because we were sweeping Kansas City under the rug and saying, well, maybe next year. And now all of a sudden they're 2 games ahead in the West.
Yeah.
And, Dallas was a team that, they could sustain anything. And all of a sudden they're not so bulletproof anymore. So it's just a matter of and I say this, the NFL is a week-to-week proposition. And it's a matter of who's healthy when you play them. And, they've had their issues in Tampa. I don't know. I think the pedigree is still the same. I think the quarterback hasn't gotten any worse. I just think the availability of players and the opponent's health has always factored into that. So there's a strategy. You just got to go out, execute it. They have their strategy, and the better players you have, the better you look executing your strategy. But these games can get ugly sometimes. You've got, in Arizona, you got one of the more exciting quarterbacks in the league, and he's missed 3 games this year. Baltimore, their guys in and out of the lineup. So it just comes down to finding ways to win and winning ugly games if you can. But it's just hard to say until we get down that final stretch what a team is. Some teams have winning records because they got out fast, and they're going to, kind of drift back into the pack, and others will just kind of hold the rope until they get their guys healthy. But, as far as Tampa is concerned, they're still the same team. They're still potent. They still have the same philosophy. It's just a matter of what's available to them in terms of their personnel.
Impact of getting Thomas back along that offensive line for Garrett as a play caller tonight, Carl.
It helps. He's a stabilizing force. because he's going to draw either Shaq Barrett or JPP. I don't think that Jason Garrett is still going to be willing to leave any of these tackles one-on-one without some help. So they'll probably go with an extra lineman in their configuration at times. Other times they're gonna, they'll probably slide to help the weak link wherever the best guy, the hot guy is. So he's a help though. I mean, he definitely upgrades them from what they were playing with the last few weaks.
Carl, thank you.
Thank you, Carl.
Enjoy the game
Have a good
tonight.
call tonight.
Hopefully we're calling a Giants win.
Thank you, guys.
Carl thinks this is going to be a big Giants W.
Yeah.
How about that?
Good Boomer.
I do.
Have a good Thanksgiving as well, Carl.
All the former players are saying
Alrighty.
W. Maybe we should think W here.